Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel. In today's episode we're going to continue our 1986 journey for Ford with the last model in the range, and that can only be the Ford Granada, of course. Hello and welcome back to Quarterlight. Now, if you're new to Quarterlight, we're a car brochure channel here on YouTube, looking at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, and sometimes beyond that as well. So if you're interested in cars, car brochures, kind of remembering your dad's car, then please do subscribe. It is all completely free. Now, this particular episode was first aired on a Friday. We call those episodes Ford Friday episodes. Could be looking at Ford every week. Today is no different, and in fact we're going through a series at the moment. We've been looking at this Ford all range catalogue for 1986. We're right at the end. This is kind of the concluding part for the Ford Granada. Don't worry if you missed the previous episodes, I'll do a link at the end. Really doesn't matter which model we look at or which model you look at and in what order really, but like I say, please stay with us for the Ford Granada. In fact, let's throw that brochure on the block and have a look at this lovely model. So, just for those who've not seen the previous episodes, this is the brochure we're looking at. Cars, it quite simply says, showing the Ford range. This one's for March 1986, featuring the new Escort and Orion ranges, which we've already looked at, and certainly that will be in the back catalogue to look at later. Last week we looked at the Capri. However, the week before that we looked at the Sierra, and just before we get to the Granada range, I do want to do an apology. I'll just turn to the Ford Sierra 2-litre IS. Here it is. Loved the Sierra 2-litre IS at this time. It was really well priced car and you got a lot for your money. However, I did point out that these were alloy wheels as standard. They're not alloy wheels, they're actually wheel covers, but they certainly are very convincing covers, so I applaud Ford for making them look like alloy wheels. And silly me, I was forgetting, Ford are going to give you as little as possible. They're not going to throw alloys in on your 2-litre IS, although you did get alloys as standard on your Ghia model. Now, the problem with this, of course, was you couldn't even add alloy wheels as an optional extra, which was certainly a weird move by Ford, because it certainly suits these wheel trims, but it would suit actual alloy wheels even more, being the sporty version. Like I said, the Ghia had them. These rather beautiful alloy wheels, now standard on the Ghia model, which I kind of always think alloy wheels should be on the Ghia anyway, but you kind of think they would have thrown these on the IS, at least as an optional extra, but no. Maybe you could park next to your dad's Sierra Ghia and put them on your own IS. He'd probably never notice. He's half blind anyway. Of course, I don't condone that at all, but yeah, unusual they didn't even offer it as an option. Anyway, last week looks at the Capri, this week the Granada, so let's move to the correct page. And then here it is, the Ford Granada. Now, of course, this will be the Mark III or third generation car, arriving in April 1985, running till 1994. Now, I can hear all those in continental Europe shouting, that's not a Granada, that's a Ford Scorpio. Well, yes and no, but in United Kingdom and Ireland, we kind of was a bit more sentimental. We kept our lovely Granada name, we liked it, and I think it suited this car, and I'm actually pleased they did keep the Granada name for UK and Ireland. We just used the Scorpio badge kind of like as a trim level for the high spec Granadas, and like I say, continental Europe, it was the Scorpio, of course. And I'm glad they kept the Granada name actually in the UK. I always liked the Granada, and it was nice to see it continuing, and this car I think suited the Granada name as well. I see no reason to have changed it to Scorpio. Now obviously what came next very controversial styling, so I'm kind of like glad they dropped the Granada name and then started using the Scorpio name for the range of cars as well after this. But like I say, here in UK, this is a UK brochure, it is the Granada, a model they've actually mentioned throughout the brochure because they're very proud of the fact this is the car of the year 1986, and of course this is a 1986 brochure. Looks like we've also got another award there for top car 1986. Now the Mark III Granada was the first European volume production model to have anti-lock brakes fitted as standard. Kind of like that was always the thing that stuck in my mind for these. Anyway, let's just have a quick look at these awards. Now we've all heard of car of the year. Of course, some cars never seem to live up to the car of the year. So a few years later you think that was car of the year, but you know, you have to think about these cars that was awarded at the time. Top car 1986, not an award I'm familiar with. It says the Guild of Motoring Writers Trophy, presented by United Dominions Trust. Have you heard of that one before? I don't know. Now a little caption at the top here is telling us Granada is the new dimension in luxury motoring, and I'm sure it was. Anyway, let's turn to the first model in the range, the Granada GL. So here is the first model, the GL. Strange, no L or poverty spec model, considering this is Ford and this is 1986, but no, we're moving straight to a GL to tell us, you know, don't be scared to spend a bit more money if you wanted your Granada. Very much in the Sierra style, and it, you know, fitted in nicely with the range. I think one of the big issues I've got with the Granada at this time was the saloon. You know, kind of like a strange move. So yeah, only available as a hatchback. I think that was a bit of a mistake off the bat, really, because it's even less forgivable for me than when the Sierra was launched, because that was a bold new shape, and you know, there was being quite brave about it, and it was some time before the saloon came along. But I like the Sierra. I think, you know, it was a bold move to do that. Yeah, maybe a saloon wouldn't have gone amiss at launch, but I think this is even more unforgivable on the Granada, because this is your range topper, your executive car. Surely that should have been a saloon at the start. Yeah, we did get a saloon. I think that arrived around about December 89, so you had to wait a bit longer for that. And even no estate. The lovely load lugging estate has gone. Always remember them lovely estates in Mark II guys. Well, I don't think the estate arrived till 92, kind of like the beginning of 92, when it had a bit of a facelift. So a little bit of a strange move. So yes, only as a hatchback, yes. Extremely practical hatchback, yes. A hint of a saloon look, but I still think it was a bit of a mistake not having a saloon at launch. Anyway, tells us at the top, Granada GL, beautifully styled inside and out. The GL sets new executive class standards. Let's have a look at the text. So the sleek Granada GL looks good and goes even better. Exceptionally spacious and comfortable, well equipped, versatile and delightful to drive. It sets new standards for executive class, where quality really counts. The specification provides remarkable value for money and includes one of the world's most advanced anti-lock braking system, with big fade fighting discs on all four wheels. Its benefits are typical of a car on which more than 3,500 designers and engineers, backed by Ford's immense worldwide technical resources, worked for 5 years. Ford's proving grounds were used to evaluate more than 50 prototypes before the design was finalised. They were also subjected to merciless treatment in conditions ranging from winter weather north of the Arctic Circle to the searing summer heat of Morocco and Arizona. In addition, Ford had components tested all over Europe in hard-driven company and police cars. The results obtained are another reason for the Granada GL's outstanding quality and low cost of ownership. Engine choices go all the way from the lean burn 1.8, the 2 litre and the 2 litre EFI, driving through Ford's light precise 5-speed manual gearbox, to the 2.8 EFI V6 with the 4-speed A4LD overdrive automatic transmission as standard. The 1.8 power unit delivers 90 PS at 5400 RPM and combines a 0 to 60 mph time of 12.2 seconds and 111 mph maximum with a very impressive 44.1 mpg at 56 mph, and apologise, this does fall on the crease. At the other end of the scale, the automatic 2.8 EFI Granada GL reaches 60 mph from 0 in only 11 seconds, can reach 127 mph and does 38.7 mpg at 56 mph. So nice on this, what is a base model Granada at the time, that you could even get that 2.8 EFI on it, or even a lowly 1.8. Strong but light bumpers with bright inserts combined with bright bodyside mouldings to protect the computer designed body and its tough, lustrous paintwork. Protection of a different nature is provided by special high security locks. Developed by Ford in association with Chubb, one of the world's leading locksmiths, they secure the tailgate, passenger doors and steering and are extremely difficult to pick. You tell me, I've got memories that they weren't that difficult, but I'm no expert. Like the Granada Ghia and Scorpio, the GL has central locking as standard, a single key complete with a tiny torch locks everything, including the 15.4 gallon fuel tank filler flap. Excellent all-round visibility is enhanced by 2 remote control door mirrors. Now I've had to flip the page just to finish that sentence, so let's just go back to the previous page to see the images. So I've got a little image here showing the halogen headlights. Let's raise this little image talking about flush fitting windows and improved or less wind noise it's talking about. We've got a little image of the practical tailgate. And then apologies for the reflections, but this is your main image with those a little bit of cheap looking wheel trims on it. Anyway, let's turn the page I should say, and then let's have a look on the inside. This is a glimpse on the inside, and even though this is your base model at the time, not too bad at all for a Ford. Instrumentation, you'll notice, even on a Granada GL, no rev counter, surprisingly. Little look at the switchgear and that clock. I'm going to give you some images of the enhanced practicality of having a hatchback, your split folding rear seats, pretty straightforward. And then finally at the end we get a look at this door card, but you'll notice keep fit windows are on there. This page is talking about the seats, and you can fit 5 people in there. And it says you can relax in supportive seats trimmed with attractive strobe fabric and tuned to complement the car's smooth riding suspension. Height adjustable driver's seat and its partner have a cloth covered fully adjustable head restraints, low friction belts which reduce pressure to about half, which is sounds a little bit weird. Drivers will appreciate how the steering wheel and the stubby controls for the GL's indicators, headlights, wipers and washers can be moved up, down, backwards and forwards to achieve the ideal command position. Fascinating. And then just moving on. It says other noteworthy features include a centre console with a large trinket tray and coin rack, quartz analog clock, courtesy lights operated by all 4 doors, illuminated control switches, lidded glove box, central armrest for the rear compartment, 60/40 split fold seat back, raised by gas fitted struts. The tailgate gives easy access to the capacious boot, whose contents are revealed by a carpeted package tray that can be tilted, folded or removed completely, etc, etc. In-car entertainment, Ford Self-Seek AM cassette player with 6 speakers and joystick balance control. Its radio aerial is built into the tailgate. And then it goes on to say the well-equipped Granada GL can be made even more attractive by adding optional features. They range from tinted glass, metallic paint, power assisted steering. Ooh, that would have been heavy, wouldn't it, without power assisted steering. And a radio telephone whose installation can be organised by your Ford main dealer. Next model in the range for the Granada, straight into the Ghia, the car you always aspired to own, suddenly doesn't feel quite so special when it's the second trim level, really, does it? But there we go. Still think it would have been nice to get the Ghia anyway, just to say you've got a Granada Ghia. How nice does that sound? It tells us spacious and refined, the elegant Ghia makes long journeys a pleasure. I don't think I'm going to read all the text, but we'll certainly pick some key points out. So the luxurious, smooth riding and sure-footed Granada Ghia stands out as a car of an exceptional merit, even when judged by Ford's superior standards. Parked or powered along a motorway, it exudes poise and panache, class and confidence, style and sophistication. Tells us the Ghia's got ABS, but that's standard anyway. Fully independent suspension, greater combined front and rear legroom than any other car in its class, fully adjustable steering column, and all other fundamental features that make the Granada such an outstanding design. And then all the rest is really talking about how fantastic the wind cheating design is. This is what we really want to know. It says, building on the GL's impressive specification, the Ghia has tinted glass and a screened glass sunroof, which can be either slid back or just tilted at the rear to increase ventilation. Rearward visibility in very cold weather poses no problem because both door mirrors are electrically heated and adjusted. Other eye-catching features include silver wheel covers. Oh gee, I had hope. So you can get your Sierra Ghia with lovely alloys, but now they're saying the next model up, the Granada, you just have wheel trims on your Ghia. It's almost like the trim levels mean nothing, and you've got 4 models basically in the range, and here the Ghia is more like a GL. I don't know, but at least you get a nice Ghia badge, so that's nice, isn't it? And we also get bright surrounds for the windows. Hurrah! It's a GL, isn't it? It goes on about high style is matched by high performance from a choice of advanced engines, Bosch L Jetronic fuel injection, and Ford's EECIV, the most powerful engine management computer currently fitted to any road-going production car. Performance, it tells us 2-litre EFI power unit gives the Ghia 115 PS, 5500 RPM, whisks it from rest to 60 in 9.9 seconds, which I think is quite reasonable for the time for a big lump like this. 5-speed manual gearbox, it'll also do 120. We have a look at that tilt slide sunroof, although you notice it's crank, not electric. And in the main image, I do like this colour on the Granada Ghia. It kind of like suits the Ghia, doesn't it? You can see the Ghia badge, but you also note those rather cheap, nasty wheel trims. But overall, I like the Granada. I like the Mark III Granada. I think the styling is actually really nice, and I do like that it's a hatchback. Even though I say, it's rather foolish they didn't offer it with a saloon from the start. Anyway, let's turn the page. Hopefully, it'll give us a look inside. There is a glance on the inside of the Ghia. You can notice this particular model is an auto. I do actually quite like the seats on there in this two-tone colour. At the top, we can see we've now got electric mirrors and windows. And a little bit of a look at what the Ghia owner would keep in his glove box. The next model in the Granada range is called the Scorpio. So, like I say, continental Europe would be calling this the Ford Scorpio anyway, but the UK and Ireland, we're calling this the Granada, and this is the trim level Scorpio, i.e. one up from a Ghia. It tells us power, poise and pedigree give the luxurious Scorpio a unique appeal. So, kind of like think this is more of what you would expect as a Granada Ghia, really. But anyway, let's have a look at the text. It tells us perfected during 5 years of exhaustive research and development and built in a factory where nothing matters more than consistent in-depth quality. Ford's prestigious Granada Scorpio stands out as 1986's definitive contender in executive class upper echelons. It has a limousine luxury, the dynamic appeal of a potent grand touring car, and the spacious, versatile interior of a thoroughly modern 5-door hatch, and it carries on in the same sort of vein. It starts talking about some of the external features. They include powerful driving lights and fog lights set into the colour-toned impact resistant front bumper, whose bright inserts run right along the full depth body side mouldings and round the subtle curved tail. The Scorpio also gets a special type of protective paint for its rocker panels. Tinted glass standard, so are power operated and heated door mirrors, with clear frost and mist on days when the all-disc ABS and anti-lock braking system could prove worth its weight in gold. In addition, the Scorpio has an electrically heated windscreen for super fast de-icing. Drivers will also notice that the Scorpio, unlike the GL and Ghia Granada, rides on light, strong alloy wheels. Well, thank goodness for that. And goes on to say tyres, brakes, power assisted steering and fully independent suspension complement the Scorpio's 2.8 EFI V6 power unit, which generates 150 PS at 5,800 RPM and a muscular 219 Newton meters of torque, exactly 2,800 rev lower down the scale. With the standard 4-speed auto transmission, it gives 0 to 60 time of 11 seconds and 127. Certainly see how that auto really slows it down, even though it's got that large engine it's talking about. We've got central locking, sink into the Scorpio seats covered with Athos and crushed velour cloth. Yeah, that does sound nice, I must admit. They combined superlative comfort with long-term durability and complement the car's suspension. The front pair are heated and power adjusted for reek and rake. The height of the driver's seat can also be altered. Also got pneumatic lumbar support, low friction seat belts. We've got the the ergonomic fascia is distinguished by a discrete strip of wood veneer, i.e. Ghia, and its instrument panel locates all dials, gauges and warning lights where they can be checked at a glance by day or night. And we've got Ford's fuel computer. So it shows the sunroof again on this model, but it's now electric. But overall the Granada Scorpio trim level is a nice one. Do like it in this colour. Do like those rather nice alloys, which I think really suits the car. We can also see the little headline wash there as well, and those colour coordinated bumpers. It also tells us we've got air conditioning and leather trim available at extra cost if you prefer that. On the page we can have a nice look at that interior and how the wood is applied to this high spec model. Adjustable seat belts. It even shows this, which is quite an unusual thing. I didn't know you could get this. It's an optional extra, but still, this optional extra sort of like music system for the rear passengers, so you can plug your headphones in. I think it's quite a nice little feature. Here's your standard trim, those lovely seats. Certainly that is the one I would have gone for, but for those who prefer leather, that is your optional extra leather trim. And then finally a little bit of a look at those door cards for this high spec model. Now if you want to, you can go a step further and either make your Ghia or your Scorpio into a 4x4. It tells us 2 models that introduce the significant benefits of 4-wheel drive to the Granada range. So this starts with a little bit of a quote. It says, perhaps it was the ease and lack of driver effort required to drive the Granada 4x4 so quickly and safely in such abysmal conditions that impressed the most. That's from the Motor magazine, so a little bit of endorsement at the time. It goes on to tell us four-wheel drive was originally devised for off-road vehicles. In recent years, however, it has become associated with a very special breed of cars whose hallmarks are performance, prestige and sophisticated engineering. Some cars have selectable four-wheel drive. Ford system for the Ghia and Scorpio is permanently engaged to eliminate the risk of being caught napping when conditions change without warning. Power comes from the latest version of Ford's renowned 2.8 EFI V6 engine, which develops 150 PS at 5800 RPM and drives through a 5-speed gearbox. The combination achieves 0 to 60 in 9.3 seconds and 126 mph top speed. Four-wheel drive cars with 50-50 front to rear torque split tend to run wide when powered through bends. The near neutral cornering characteristics praised by motor stem from the 4x4 Granada being divided on a 34-66 basis. Interesting. The transmission is also notable for two smooth progressive limited slip differentials with viscous couplings provided by a silicon fluid. Disc brakes at the front and rear are optimised by one of the world's ABS. We're going about ABS again. Fantastic. Excellent. So it tells us both cars have distinctive aluminium alloy wheels, low profile tyres. Very nice. So yeah, you could argue this isn't really another trim level. It's really 4x4 on a Ghia or Scorpio, but I don't know. I like to think of these as being one step up really from the Scorpios. Anyway, at the rear, the badge in there, if the camera will tune in, there we go. We can see how this particular one's badged Granada Ghia 4x4 at a time when you was proud to show everything on the car. I mean, these sort of names at the back of the cars in the 80s got longer and longer and longer, didn't they? At the bottom again it tells us we can get air conditionings available, and it tells us we can get leather as well, but only if you option it to be the Scorpio version of the 4x4. The image is actually the Granada Ghia 4x4, like the badge picture at the top. So in fact you are getting alloy wheels on the Ghia if you do option it to have the 4x4. So a Ghia 4x4 certainly seems a step above that standard model Ghia and seems a little bit more special and seems to be more fitting of the Ghia badge in my opinion. So really essentially 5 models in the range, weren't they, if we think about the Ghia 4x4 and then the Scorpio 4x4. So it went GL, Ghia 4x4, Scorpio 4x4. I think that Ghia 4x4 was a nice one. It looked a little bit better, I think. Anyway, price range wise, and apologies, it does run on the crease there, but the engine choices there: 1.8 2 litre EFI, 2.8 EFI Auto and 2.8 EFI 4x4. The GL has a great range of models you can get as a 1.8 2 litre EFI, or even a 2.8 EFI Auto if you wanted. So of course the price ranges was varied even for a GL. 9,217.44 was your cheapest Granada, moving up to £12,203.31. They went for the 2.8 EFI GL, which was an unusual choice because it certainly made it a very expensive car. So I very much doubt there were many 2.8 EFI GLs in my opinion. Now obviously we can move up the trim levels as well. So the Ghia had a choice of 2 engines, either the 2 litre EFI or the 2.8 EFI, but you had to have the Auto if you went for that. So £11,592.86 if you went for the 2 litre EFI manual. If you went for the 4x4, and I quite like the 4x4 Ghia, but it does make for a very expensive car, doesn't it? £16,159.55. Big money. It did come with the 2.8 EFI though, and it's a 2.8 EFI. manual. So nice engine, nice model. My opinion, too pricey though. If you wanted to go for a Scorpio, that had to have the automatic on it, 16,833. So not that much more for the Scorpio with the not the 4x4, but wait for it. Yes, Scorpio 4x4, 18,923.54. Big money. And I seem to remember on the second-hand market, you can pick them up pretty cheap, to be honest with you. So I'm going to say my favourite is going to be that Ghia 4x4 or the Scorpio 4x4, but I don't think it's worth that sort of money as a brand new car, but it would be a second-hand buy for me. If I was forced to buy brand new, what would I go for? I'm probably going to pick this Ghia, £11,592.86 with the 2 litre manual gearbox on it. And maybe, can I put alloy wheels as an optional extra? So looking down the optional features, interesting, I've seen you can get a 5-speed on the EFI on both the GL and the Ghia. No extra charge, so that's quite a nice thing. But just on those two models, I'm not seeing alloy wheels. No, so it looks like we couldn't have alloy wheels even as an option on the Ghia. That's a little bit sad, isn't it? Anyway, that does bring us to the end of this particular brochure. I thought I'd just throw this in. So accessories tailor-made for your new Escort or Orion. These sort of nice little extras you can get, ranging from your extra lights to head restraints by the looks of it. Ski carriers. Always skis, isn't it? Who uses ski carriers? Certainly nobody where I used to live, put it that way. Even tow bars and a cheap looking sunroof, and then you can make it look at something special though, with looks like alloy wheels and side skirts. How very 80s. Oh, even a bit of a boot spoiler on there too. This is how you get your alloy wheels though. You go to the RS Sport Accessories, you pick alloy wheels, you throw them on your Sierra 2 litre IS. So yeah, we can put them on there. You can even throw them on your Granada Ghia. May not be the right looking alloy wheel, but you can get them, as well as sport steering wheels, front spoilers, rear spoilers, side skirts, rear bumper skirts, wheel arch extensions for your Escort and Orion, body conversion kit for all the models but the Granada, and locking wheel nuts. Interesting. Finally, turning to the back page, there is the code for the brochure, FA221/113, March 1986. And I think overall, March 1986 is a pretty good range for Ford at the time. I think lots of choice. Let me know in the comments what you would choose, however, which Granada you would choose, or even which Ford in general you would have gone for if you had the money in March 1986 to buy a lovely brand new car straight from that lovely showroom. Lucky you. Thank you so much for watching today. Of course, have a fantastic weekend as always, and we'll see you very soon. I'll finish by saying, if you've not done already, please don't forget to like and subscribe, all completely free. And we'll end with a lovely view. The front nose, those lovely headlamp wash, and those alloy wheels of the lovely Granada Scorpio. We'll also see some boxes there for other videos, as well as the full brochure for this particular brochure in March 1986 and all the other models, if you've missed any. Like I say, take care, we'll see you very soon, and goodbye.